Okay. Good morning and welcome to the Spirits of Society of Virginia. As everybody here knows, we read an initial message, and today is no different. Our beautiful Emmanuel, through the way, the truth, and the life, writes to us through Chico and gives us chapter 101, Everything in God. Jesus is recorded by John in chapter 5, verse 30. I by myself can do nothing. Pondering the transcendent conditions that govern the tiniest phenomena of life is an excellent exercise against personal pride. Human beings can do nothing without God. We have all seen people who emerge as dominators on the earthly stage, claiming to be mighty without the support of the Almighty. However, the only accomplishment they actually manage to achieve is to be inflated by the world's breath, only to become deflated at the first contact with the divine truth. When they first frighteningly appear, these wind-filled giants spread material destruction and spiritual affliction. However, the same world that puts them up on a pedestal later throws them into the abyss of ordinary disdain. The same group that inflamed them then undertakes the task of putting them back in the right place. Sincere disciples, fully aware of the fact that all their abilities proceed from the friendly and wise Father, that the opportunities for spiritual growth, daily resources, and the blessings of loved ones have come from God, who, by the spirit of service, invites them to more sacred endeavors. Thus, they always act with love, working for the good, clarifying everything for the truth, making pathways straight, and lighting new lights. For their hearts know that they can do nothing by themselves, and so they honor the Father by taking part in his work in a saintly manner. I don't think there's much to say about this passage. The title says it all, Everything in God. And we continually emphasize that, especially over the last several months, that we are nothing without God, and to bring God back into your life. Not in this evangelical way, but just the recognition and the joy of knowing that God is with you every moment of your day. And everything that happens to you, everything that's given to you, is due to God's love and caring for us, and his mercy too. Thanks.
What a beautiful message that John read to us. What are we without God? Nothing. So let us then talk with God together. What a blessing for us to be able to do this. What a blessing to be here in this wonderfully sacred space that was prepared for us. Let us visualize the universe as much as we can feel it, and the greatness of God. Dear Mother, Father God, we feel so small before you, and yet so loved. We can tell that one day our dear planet Earth will be totally surrendered to you. That every being will be worshiping you in their daily lives. For now, we make efforts to making good use of this information and this feeling, transforming our lives, trusting in the good, for we understand that good is all there is and nothing else. Everything else is an absence on our side. As your co-creators, we know that we have, each one of us, a unique, very unique role in the universe. May we awaken to that and feel how much we love you, for you've loved us since when we don't even remember of ourselves. Thank you for sending Master Jesus to our lives, the expression of love on earth. May we be inspired in his loving examples and transform our minds in temples of love as well. We visualize our homes, workplaces, enveloped in this healing light. And we see the loving spirit doctors, nurses, and therapists kindly helping us to declutter spiritually, substituting negative beliefs, thoughts, and feelings by optimistic and hopeful ones. And we repeat inside of our hearts, we are your children. We are loved. We're made by love, for love, and to love. May the therapeutic session that we're going to undergo strengthen us and everyone in our spiritual network. May we feel your presence at this moment and rejoice. Thank you for your guidance, for the protection, and for the opportunity of being here together. And so be it. All right. You know, today we have a special therapeutic lesson that Daisy and Carol will share with us. So I'm going to ask Daisy to come and share it with us, right? Followed by Carol. My friends, let me just... Just want to make sure our systems are working. Good morning, everyone. Before we start, for those who are here presentially, we want to pass the sign-up sheet. So we will be doing our monthly service to the homeless in Washington, D.C. The first Saturday of the month is July 2nd, so it's the 4th of July weekend. So we're going to postpone to the following Saturday, which is July 9th. So those who are here who wants to help with the bags, and then there's the opportunity to help at the park. So we pass this around so that you guys can. So today we have such an important topic. We're talking about mental fixation. So if we study thoughts, and there's scientists who study thoughts, they say that throughout the day we have over 6,000 thoughts per day in 24 hours. So the questions for us today is how our thoughts affect our lives,
affect our actions, and then how that affects our spiritual network. We know we're spiritual beings. We make connections with others, but how does that mechanism work? So we're going to explain a little bit about how what is the power of our thoughts, and then Kara's going to bring a case from the book Liberation by Andre Luiz through Chico Xavier to illustrate to us exactly how this happens. So the first thing for us to start, and this is the base of everything. On the book Thought and Life by Emmanuel, and in many other books, Mechanisms of Mediumship by Andre Luiz, we get to know that thought is matter. What does that mean? Every time we think, our thoughts, as we see here in the picture, they are living images. So we get to know in Spiritans that it's not the saying of, oh, I'm just thinking. No, we're thinking, we're projecting, we're creating. It's something that is tangible. Although we cannot see it, it is tangible to in our spiritual selves. But how does that mechanism work? So thoughts, they are living and exteriorizing a current. So think about electricity, right? Think we cannot see it, right? The electricity itself, but it's there. So every time we think, we are projecting. But that current is electromagnetic. So as we think, we project, that thought has electromagnetic powers. That means that is magnetic. It will attract. As we meet, we attract. It's a force. So if it's electromagnetic, it has positive and negative charges. But what are those positive and negative charges as we think about it? What are those positive and negative thoughts that we have? Over 6,000 thoughts a day. Well, because they are electromagnetic, they create gravity and affinity and stimulation. So we're gonna dive a little bit deeper and explain how does that work. But gravity, we know we're here, we're on Earth, right? So if it's something elevated, that will make us be lighter, fly higher, connect with higher minds, right? But it's something that is very materialistic, is very negative, it's gonna be very heavy. And that is gonna make our spirit, our perispirit, very, very heavy. So let us recap. We know we are spiritual beings. We are created, we're spirits, but we have a semi-material body, that is our perispirit, that we carry throughout our lives. In this life, we have this physical body. In the next life, we might have a different physical body, but our perispirit is there with us. So everything, every thought, every feeling, every action that we have, it is recorded. Think about a computer. It is recorded in the perispirit. So this computer is here. Yes, there are different drives running through it. So it is, everything is stored in it. And that's what it is, our perispirit. When we die, our physical body dies, but our perispirit stays with us. So we get to know in the spiritual literature that our thoughts, every thought, a millisecond, is recorded in our perispirit. And we get to know that there is that law of action and reaction. So what are the types of thoughts that we have? Because it is recorded in our perispirit. It's going to be there with us, and we're going to carry throughout our lives. So that gives us the responsibility to really stop, because, and think about what we think, right? Because we know that we will have to respond to every thought that we have. So how does it work? As we think, we project. As we project, we know each of ourselves, we are enveloped in this vital halo. Some people call it aura. So how is our aura composed? Well, it is composed of our thoughts, of our feelings, as we see in this beautiful image, right? So thoughts, they are subtle atomic currents. There are proper and habitual. They have a particular frequency and a particular color. So the mentors in the Spirit Society of Virginia always ask us, as we think about ourselves as, beyond this physical body, as our spiritual beings, how we think is our aura. If we had a paper and pencil, how we would draw it? Would it be light and colorful? Would it be heavy? What type of colors do you think it would have? What type of texture? Even the smell. Would it smell like flowers? Or would have, I smell that's not so great. Well, that is because we are within this aura. So even before I talked to John, I talked to Carol, I am an emitting being. So even before we say anything to one another, we are getting in touch because our auras are there. We are vibrating beings. So we know as we think, we project, those thoughts stays around us. We are surrounded by our aura. Well, so it is inevitable. We will live and breathe, and we're immersed in this atmosphere that only depends on us. People say, oh, the world is so hard. This is happening, that is happening. But if we change how we think, how we feel, we will feel different. It is true. We can go to the hardest places on earth. You can visit someone in Africa that has nothing, but they feel fulfilled. They are happy. We look at them and we say, how come they don't have the basic living things? They don't have a bathroom to go to. But why, friends? Because it depends on us. It gives us the power to change. But how does this happen? We need more information. So Andre Luiz tells us more. Andre Luiz explained to us that as we think, there are constructive and destructive mental currents. We get to know in the Spirit's book, in the Gospel, that there is no neutral zone. Either we are connecting with something constructive or we are connecting with something that is destructive. So, is the absence of doing something good enough? No, that is evil in itself. We need to be doing something good. So we get to know, different from the car, that is the park, there is the rear, there's the neutral, the drive. No, with our thoughts, there are two options, constructive and destructive. Constructive, yes, it's those ennobling thoughts. It's richer, our imagination. We're thinking about good things. We are involving ourselves with good thoughts, with good feelings, with good actions. Yes, it's our imagination, it's our mental power. It's emerged from our soul. But when we connected, we think, we connected with destructive mental currents. Those are those maladaptive, they are destructive mental currents. And the most important thing, friends, they can lead us to what Andre Luiz says, obsessive blindness. Okay, too many words here. Let us take a step back because it is a lot, right? So let us then break it down. What are those destructive mental currents? We need examples. Because we turn on the TV and we're there. We're thinking we're just watching the news, right? Roe versus Wade, the Capitol riots. You know, we're there. We're watching TV and we're thinking. Okay, so thinking and talking constantly about situations. 6 situations. Well, we are living still in a pandemic. Yes, we're gonna talk about it, but are we gonna be 24/7 connected in that current, thinking about we're sick, others are sick, the world is falling apart? Are we looking at the good news? It doesn't mean we're not gonna turn on the TV and read the newspaper. We need to know what's happening. But if we're gonna be constantly there, not replenish ourselves, we're gonna be connected in this destructive mental currents. What else, friends? Andre Luiz says, every time we indulge and overindulge in the body pleasures. He's very specific. He talks about sex, about pornography, about drugs, about alcohol. So, this bullet, if we could strongly highlight, it's so important in our society. Because right now, and we're not condemning anyone, but we're just breaking down the facts. People go online, dating apps, they sleep with someone today, they sleep with someone tomorrow, and then the other day, and then the other day. Well, they don't know that every time that sexual connection is exchange of energy. So we are exchanging the energy with this person, with that person, with that person. What type of mental currents we think will be connecting with higher elevated mental currents? Some people say, well, I don't actually do it, but I go online and I watch pornography. Well, we get to know as we think, we project, we connect. So we're there thinking, I'm just watching. But think about it. First of all, what type of vibrations we're sending to those people who are there where we're watching? Positive, beautiful thoughts? Probably not. Well, second, as we know, as we think, we project, we connect. What type of spirits we think will be connected with us as we're there thinking we're just watching? Spirits like Jesus? Probably not, right? Friends, this is actually already proven by science. How many marriages, relationships are broken because of sex addictions? Not only the adultery part, but adultery through thought. It is in the gospel according to Spiritism that thinking about it is already considered adultery. So, if we are there thinking, I'm just thinking, I'm connecting, how is my relationship with my partner at home gonna be improved if I'm making those connections myself? Is it gonna be a beautiful relationship in the home? Because we think it's a relationship between two people, but it's actually, oh wow, it's scary. If we look at the spiritual side of things, there's a whole bunch of people there. And there's spirits in the spirit realm who come, who connect with us, and they are called vampire spirits. Andre Luiz talked about it in the book Nosso Lar and many other books. He says that those spirits, they come to literally suck our energy through sex, through drugs, through alcohol, even overindulging in food. So, we know that, yes, what is there in our society is our society, but we need to think about ourselves. We get to know through all these books that if we follow what society says, today says something, tomorrow says something else, but what is our code? We study and we get to know this, but then we go home and what are we doing? So let us stop and think not only about our thoughts, but our actions, our sentiments. Cruelty. Well, we don't need to go too far away. We go to social media and we read the comments and we see people are ruthless. They don't care. And they think, oh, I have the right to speak my mind. But are we being thoughtful about the things that we're thinking or saying? And today we're talking about mental fixation. So it's not only about saying something. Maybe a family member comes and shares something with us and we don't say anything. But in our minds, we're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person. How come? And we might not say anything, but in our thoughts, we're there. We're condemning. We're putting them down. So do we think that what are the emanations that we're giving to this person? We might not say anything physically, but we are projecting those thoughts. We're criticizing. We're slandering. We get to know in the book 2,000 years ago, and today we're sharing another book, but in that book we see how one day, one situation, one word that someone put related to another relationship of the couple. The slander that she created changed the lives of the couple forever. One word, friends. And it truly destroyed people's lives. But then we get to the end of the book and we see that who was the one that was affected? Those who suffered the slander. One of them, Livia, she took the higher road. She ascended. Her husband, who accepted the slander, Emmanuel, as we know, he had to come back many times to redo it. But the one that actually did the slander, well, she had a pretty hard end of her life. It was devastating. And we cannot even imagine what happened after she discarnated. But those things are accepted in our society, right? People say they have the right to show their anger. At work, they might be so peaceful, but they think that by the time they get home and they close their doors, they can be as angry as they want to. But then we're there. We're living in that environment. We're eating. We're socializing with our family members. So, what are the emanations that we're having and the spirits that we are attracting? But then we can choose. We can choose to think about the greater good, to think about immortality. Yes, we're here today. Friends, tomorrow, we don't know. We don't want to be tragic, but it's true. We might step outside and we don't know what might happen tomorrow. So, are we thinking about that? How would we feel if we know today was our last day? Have we reconciled with our loved ones? Have we say that we loved our loved ones? Because we don't know tomorrow. If we're helping others, if we're being selfless, if we're being patient, understanding, indulgent, yeah, people might come. As we said, the family members come and they share. We can condemn, we can judge, or we can stop and think, they probably not doing well. how can I help them? Can I put a good word to make them think different? Why, friends? Because what happens? Well, let's go to assessment question first. This is for us. We don't need to answer out loud, but let us think. Today, this is the assessment question for us. What type of thoughts do we have throughout the day? Are those constructive or destructive? Let us think about it. Why this is important? And that's the key of today's study. We know that we think, we project, its matter is electromagnetic, has a charge, positive or negative, but then we make associations. So, Andre Luiz says, the soul enters in resonance with the mental currents of the souls who are in tune with it. Remember the vital halo, the aura? So, even without speaking, we attune with those who have similar thoughts. So, if we're angry, if we are criticizing, if we're thinking negative, we're gonna make connections with those who think the same. Incarnated, discarnated. We assimilate the thoughts of those who think as we do. That is true, right? We usually do. We usually like to stay around to those who think like us. We don't like to talk to those who think different. So why would it be differently spiritually? As we think, we connect. But once we connect, friends, and that is the key, once we connect, we think, oh yeah, I'm just thinking, but we are connecting. Once we're hooked, how difficult it is to leave that mental current. Because that's when mental fixation comes in. Something happens in our lives, a tragic event, someone did to us, they hurt us. And we stay there thinking about that event, about what happened. And we stay in that fixation for years, for lives. The person has already moved on. They have already progressed, but we are stuck. And then we connect with those who think the same, who want revenge. And we stay in that loop. We see that so often in mediumistic meetings. Spirits who come and they are stuck in thoughts of centuries ago because of one event, but they are there. It's like they're watching a movie and they're watching the same scene over and over again, and they continue watching that scene of that movie. Life is going on, but they are there. When we feel, when we visualize, when we speak or react, we are in tune with the emotions and the ideas of those incarnate and discarnate who are in the same wavelength. So until we get to the act, that is all those other steps that need to happen. Starts by our feelings. As we feel, we visualize it, we think, we act, we speak. So we know we're making those associations, we're making those connections. The question for us is, what type of connections are we making? And then Andre Luiz goes a step further, and he says, yes, we have our responsibility, we have our thoughts, we have our feelings, we make our associations. But then there are mental suggestions that comes from others or outside to us. Remember, we are vibrating beings. So our emotion, thoughts, and actions are dynamic elements of an inductive nature. So as we connect, right, to the minds of others. There are elements that come, that influence us from the outside in, the thoughts of others, but also the environment we are in. Education, schools, books, social media, right? So it's not only what we are thinking, but what are those suggestions or that we are connecting with? The mentors of the Spiritual Society of Virginia taught us that we go through Facebook, for example, or any social media platform. It's so interesting because you can see, right? Sometimes you search something in another browser and then you go to your Facebook and they're making suggestions of ads or things on your page and you're like, how is that possible? Well, we know how is that possible, right? Technology is so intelligent, but that is the same. So what in our lives has we think we make those suggestions, we will attract those suggestions to us. But then what is our power? We can go through our social network and like good pages. We don't need to defriend, but we can unfollow those that, are not bringing something good to our social media. And then we can turn our social media into something positive. Or we can go through our social media and just see disasters and bad news and people complaining. So, how are the things that we're surrounding ourselves? Are we reading instructive books? Elevated books? We get home from work and we are tired and we're like, oh, I want to sit on the couch and turn on the TV. And then we start browsing through Netflix or, Hulu or whatever streams that we have, right? Well, we can use that time for something constructive. Yes, we know we need to recharge. We're not going to be there binge watching the whole weekend. But what type of programs are we watching? Are those elevated programs constructive or destructive? Violence, wars. So our interest in particular subjects. So it not only comes within ourselves, but how are those suggestions affecting us? And we have the power over those, right? We can choose. We can make wiser choices. We can choose constructive books. It's not, why would Chico Xavier psychograph over 500 books? It's for us to have as a resource. So let us use our time wisely. So now, as we learn this mechanism, we're going to invite Carol to come to tell us about a case study in the book Liberation. Before we close, and we talked about how can we revert this? How can we get out of this mental fixations? Well, we already talked about many different things that we can choose and we can do. But Carol will come to help us illustrate more, right, Carol?
So friends, fortunately, as Daisy has said to us already, we have over 500 books that relate real life accounts to us from both realms of life. This is why this session is entitled Life in Two Worlds. And we are fortunate because we have access to life in two worlds right here and right now. We don't have to wait until we discarnate to say, whoa, life in the spiritual realm is real. We are so fortunate because we can find that out right now. So we would like to now share, as Daisy proposed a case study that was psychographed by Chico Xavier through the spirit doctor Andre Luiz, found in the book Liberation. So in the book, Andre Luiz, mentor Gubbio, and Eloy, who were working together to dissolve a serious case of mental, physical, and spiritual illness, come to visit a physician in this realm, in the physical realm. And we find something beautiful about this physician. We find that he has someone assigned to him, a more elevated spirit, discarnate spirit, assigned to him to inspire him, to save lives, to share love, to use medicine as truly a healing force. And then Andre Luiz, because he was a doctor when he was incarnated as well, he said, whoa, this is huge. Does every doctor have this blessing? And of course, God is so good that we already know the answer, right? This is not a tricky question. The answer, of course, is yes. Every doctor, everyone who embraces medicine in this physical realm is for sure accompanied by elevated spirits who help them to fulfill their healing mission in the name of God's love. So it was no different with this one physician. And it was part of his, we find out through the narrative of Andre Luiz, that this was part of his reincarnatory plan. We may be wondering now, Carol, hold on. What do you mean reincarnatory plan? Well, friends, before each and every one of us returned to Earth in our current physical form, we signed off a contract with those who love us dearly. And we agreed on particular developmental goals that we would achieve from a spiritual perspective. That doesn't mean that I agreed upon, for example, buying a new car every year. Nope, not that. Does that mean that it is in my reincarnatory plan to go to Hawaii before I discarnate? Not a bad idea. I'm not condemning that at all. I actually like that idea. But I don't think that that's a milestone for my spirit. As beautiful as Hawaii actually is, no one will deny that. That is not a spiritual milestone. So what might be in our reincarnatory plan? To be more patient. Hard one. Camila is already laughing. Yeah, we feel you, Camila. So to be more patient, to be kinder, to be helpful towards others, to be compassionate, to embrace motherhood, right? Michelle. Because you're giving a beautiful spirit an opportunity to return to Earth, to progress. This is why motherhood is one of the most sacred missions on the Earth. So congratulations to both of you. So this was in his reincarnation, and Camila, you're beyond words, and Paula as well. No words, you guys are incredible. But anyways, this was in his reincarnatory plan, to embrace medicine. Why? To make money? To have a new house every day? To have a house with a pool and a garden? No. It was for him to learn to dedicate himself to others, to think less of himself and more of others, like mothers do. But there is a but. Sorry to say, the but is coming. Surprise. But you know it. He decided not to exactly embrace the plan. Even though, like us, he literally signed on it, as we did as well, he decided to deviate from his plan. The plan, says Andre Luiz, involved him experiencing widowhood. He was married to a wonderful wife, but it wasn't the plan that she was going to go back to the spiritual realm before him. And it was his task to spend time alone. Not alone, because we are never alone, but without a partner for a little while. Could he do it? No. Why? Words of Andre Luiz, friends. This is not our account. Andre Luiz tells us that he surrendered to, quote unquote, we are quoting from him, Andre Luiz's words, easy pleasures. What are easy pleasures? The ones that we are applauded for every day in our society. The famous, quote unquote, happy hour, for example, is one of them. Our society associates drinking alcohol with happiness and joy. But we know through the mechanisms of thought, association, as Daisy kindly explained, that even though alcohol may bring us some relief and a false sensation of joy temporarily, it's a very high price to pay, because we are creating physical illnesses in the long run, and because we are calling upon us other spirits that also like the quote-unquote happy hour. We are sending them instant mental messages. You know, the instant messenger on our phone that we love? We have the mechanism in us that is a million times more powerful than the ones in our phone. Oh, Lucy, we love you, Lucy. We love you, Lucy. Hi, Lucy. Hi. You're so happy you're here. You know, darling. You want to talk too, right? Come on. You can talk with us. Lucy is going to have a lot to say because she's been here since day minus 100. She was in the spiritual realm already, hanging out with us. Thank you, Lucy. We love you. Thank you for reincarnating, my love. Thank you. So anyways, going back here to the instant messaging. The instant messaging mechanism that we have in our phones is nothing compared to the one that is imbued in us by God. Carol, how do you know? Because God, friends, gave us the power to be co-creators. So God allows for us to use our mental energy, mental power to make connections and to create our reality. It's beautiful how much God loves us. Because God says, Carol, I trust you. Daisy, I trust you. David, I trust you. Luciana, I trust you. Danielle, I trust you. Michelle Romeo, I trust you. Michelle, May, and Lucy, I trust you. And John, I trust you. Randy, I trust you. Everybody here has a vow of trust from God. This is why we have this power. But what happens when we enjoy our happy hour? We are sending mental messages to hundreds of other spirits. And they come and join us, as you see in the dark. This is a real depiction of the face. There are actually many more discarnated spirits than incarnated spirits. And they drink, quote unquote, through us. They absorb the alcohol from us. This is why when we start drinking often, we say to ourselves, I'll have just one. But then when we finish, we say, no, just one more. Oh, just one more, and before we know it, we had 5. Why? Because we're not drinking alone. Never. But it's just a social thing there. There's no social thing. The law is the law. It doesn't change because of the happy hour. It's a universal law. How about when we are watching pornography? Same thing. We are calling hundreds of spirits who also like to watch pornography and like to feel that excitement, adrenaline rush. And they are counting on us. We see that in mediumistic meetings. They are literally counting on us, banking on us, hoping that we watch pornography so that they can feel the pleasure together with us, because they don't have a physical body anymore, so they need someone who does to be able to, quote unquote, enjoy that pleasure. So this is why when we have an addiction to pornography, whether we are connected to a body of a man or a woman, doesn't matter, it could go both ways. This is why when we have an addiction to pornography, we want to stop, but we can't very easily, because we already created those mental associations. And the spirits that accompany us say, come on, don't stop. Just keep going. It's good for you. Why? Because they want it to. They want to feel that pleasure. And this is why many marriages break, as Daisy told us. Because we are inviting dozens of other partners along the way. Even if we don't see them, we feel them. And they interfere in our relationship life. Because if our partner prays, if our partner has different thoughts, they will try to create conflict with our partner because they want to push away anyone that can break their deal. So this is why many marriages, friends, fall apart. Because between the two people, there are dozens of others who don't want to lose their venue for pleasure. And this is what happened exactly to this doctor. So as a result of the dozens of spirits that were part of his home life, he wasn't in a battlefield representing the United States, kindly serving our country. No, that is different. Thank you to all the people who have served our country. That is different. We are not talking about serving our country in the army. We are talking about a battlefield inside of the home. Why? Because there were dozens of spirits that were invited in. Who sent the invitation? We did. Through pornography, through drinking, through drugs, through gossiping. We did. And now they don't want to lose us. So the minute we want to do differently, they are right there, sending us thoughts. No, keep going. No, keep going. No, keep going. And each person in the home of this physician wanted things to be their own way. So what happened next? Oops, sorry, I went backwards here. Oh, there's one slide missing, I think. Oh, sorry. So what happened next, friends? We'll see here. Sorry, there was one slide missing. But what happened next in the case of this physician? He was married once, as you know, and then he decided to remarry. The first wife was enraged in the spiritual realm, battling the second wife. The children of the first wife were jealous of the second wife, so they were battling the second wife mentally as well. So the spirits who were accompanying them in their home, the higher, more elevated spirits, said, we can't do anything to help them. And Andre Luiz said, how come you can't do anything to help them? Oh, it's because no one prays. No one thinks of understanding one another. No one thinks of forgiving. So we have no point of entry there. We cannot help them, even though we want to. And the second wife, says Andre Luiz, even though she was like a supermodel, physically astonishingly beautiful, when she lays down to take a nap after lunch, and her perispiritual body temporarily is set freer from her physical body, Andre Luiz gets scared because she looks like, quote unquote, a witch, perispiritually speaking. Even though in the outside she is a supermodel, kind of cover of magazine person physically. Why? Because of feelings and thoughts of jealousy, of rage, of pride, wanting to have the last word always. So this family, friends, was at war. Because even though they were cordial with each other, within their mental fields, as Daisy explained, they chose to be destructive. So if they were looking at each other at a table, dinner table, they could be smiling, like I am smiling at Marcilia now. And it's easy to smile at Marcilia, of course, but just hypothetically speaking, if Marcilia and I were in the case, it would be like this. I, Carol, would be smiling, but inside of me, I would be like, no, I don't like her hair. So weird. Her clothing, she needs to step it up a bit. I can't believe she said what she said, but in the outside, I'm smiling. So our family, thank you, Marcilia, for letting me act with your help. But yeah, so that family looked picture perfect, but was it, friends? No. Why? Because we didn't incarnate or reincarnate to look picture perfect. We reincarnated to improve ourselves and to progress. And it all starts inside of us and the types of company that we choose to connect to. So now Daisy is going to come back to show us how to make more positive, long-lasting connections for immortality. Right, Daisy? Thank you.
Wow, friends, let us breathe in and out, right? Because it's a lot for us, but it's so important that we hear and we understand. Because today we're talking about, and I think, this picture illustrates so well, this prison that we create for ourselves. Because the moment, as Kara explained, that we open the doors of our homes, of our mental home, to connect, make those destructive mental connections, connect with the spirits, we become prisoners within ourselves. We know there's no victims, so we are opening the doors of our mental homes to be prisoners of spirits who don't want to let go. As Carol said, they don't want us to make constructive choices because they know the moment that we do, we're going to get out of this loop. So we see in mediumistic meetings, truly, they come and they are there making those suggestions, as Carol said. Have another drink. Watch pornography, or, have that drug, or say that word of criticisms. And we're there in this loop, in this mental connections, in these battles, as Carol said, because of what? Our own choices. So we need to take responsibility, because things happen in our lives, and sometimes they're chaotic not because of people outside, but because of our own choices. So then we might be saying, okay, how do we get out of it, right? We want the answer, we want the remedy, right? How do we get out of it? Because we want to get to the end of this incarnation, as Carol mentioned, we have that plan. We want to get all A's. We want to be an A student. We wanted to fulfill all the tests. We want to get there and say, great, we did it. But how, friends? Because we might know, as Carol said, but it's so hard to put it in practice. We know we shouldn't do it. We shouldn't say, we shouldn't act. We should treat people different. But we get there and it's so hard. Why do we know it up here, but we cannot manifest it? So how can we do it? Well, please, Emmanuel and Andre Luiz helps us because we're here to share what they have. They say that the power of our will, friends, we need to strengthen our will. Because the will, as they explained to us, is the decisive factor, the power push button, which decides upon improvement or inertia. So it is within us, the power. Only the will is sufficiently strong to sustain the harmony of the spirits. But how do we do it? Because we think, oh, I know it, but it's so hard to put it in practice. How do we strengthen our will to make better choices? We get to know in the spiritual literature that if we always seek goodness, we will strengthen our will where we strengthen our moral self, when we make better choices, when we truly hear, help, learn, forgive, and love. Let us, friends, let us get those words and let us engrave within ourselves. How can we strengthen our will? Not only, first, yes, we need to learn, but before learning, we need to help. We need to get out of ourselves, of our selfishness that we have. We need to reach out to others. We need to be compassionate. We need to be understanding. Because if not, we want to get out of this prison that we created for ourselves. But how can we do it if we're thinking about others before ourselves? Yes, we need to learn. We need to study. We will strengthen our will if we know. We need to know to make better choices. So we talked about books today, the importance of reading, of studying, of participating, to really strengthen and educate ourselves. But we know learning is important, but it's not enough. We need to help. And then we need to learn how to forgive. Forgiveness, so hard. But as we work on that within ourselves, then we ace that line in our reincarnatory plan, forgiveness. Forgiveness of ourselves. What we did from today backwards, it's done. We cannot change. Let us forgive ourselves. We're a child of God. But the choices that we start making today to the future, we can use our will to make better choices. So let us forgive ourselves. And let us forgive others. We look at others not with this physical eyes, but let's look at others with this immortal eyes. We don't know what mental battles they are with others. It might not be them physically. There's so many others who are involved. So let us look at people with those immortal eyes. Let us forgive. Let us think, I only see one camera, right? One angle. There are many different angles and many different cameras. And let us love, friends. We read a message yesterday as we were praying that love is the answer. Yes, let us love one another. Let us not, it's so interesting because we uphold love. We use that to get back to others. We're like, oh, I'm not gonna be kind and loving, sometimes even at home, because, we want to get back to our partners or family members or loved ones. No, let us be loving, let us be kind in the home, at work, in our society, right, in our social media. So this is how we're going to strengthen our will. And as we strengthen our will, as we make the decisions, we then choose what are we associating with. We make better choices. Because if we stay friends, in the same group of friends, in the same, personal relationships, we not, how we're gonna get out of it, right? It's like saying to someone who is addicted to drugs, say, it's wrong, you need to get out of it, but they continue hanging out with the same friends, in the same group, they're not gonna be able to change. So let us choose the associations that we're making. And that's how, friends, we can be, as this picture shows, in the gloomiest day ever, but we will be the one shining the light. Because as we said at the beginning, it depends on us. It doesn't depend on externally. We can be the sun shining even though everything outside may look chaotic. And as this picture shows, as we vibrate higher, think about the beautiful connections we're gonna make. And we want to end with our Master Jesus, because we cannot talk about love, about forgiveness, about helping, about learning without our guide and model, because he came, friends. Imagine the governor of our planet, he created our planet. He decided to personally incarnate himself here. Can you imagine, friends? Let us think for a moment. We're here, we're so used to technology, to so many different things, and just having, a bathroom, a warm bed. I know we're talking about things physically, but imagine, friends, the higher realms that Jesus is in, and he decided that he would come more than 2,000 years ago, right? In the conditions that he did. But he did. And he came to show us that you don't need a particular home, as Carol was saying, a mansion. You don't need the car with a particular brand. Even the job. He was a carpenter. He was working with his hands. But he showed us how we can do it. He gave us the formula to reach out, to learn to forgive, to help others. And he came to exemplify. So every time we think, how can we do it? There are so many examples, but Jesus is our number one example. So let us think about Jesus, because he is the only one who helps us. And we will end with this. Think about a baby monitor. Those who are getting ready to have a baby or have a baby, they know the importance of the baby monitor. Jesus, friends, has a baby monitor in each one of us. Yes, he's there watching carefully. He knows us. Let's not think about that Jesus in the cross suffering. Let us think about this eternal friend who is caring for us. He's there like the parents watching the baby through the baby monitor saying, oh, it's so cute. And he's saying, yes, you can do it. You can do it. Right? So that is Jesus with us. Let us think about it. And every time it's hard, he's there to help us. So with that, we're gonna invite Vanessa so that we can transition to the next class.
Thank you. It's okay to keep it here. It's so beautiful. So let us then move to the last part of the classes. We're actually going to call you guys to come to the front row to receive the passes. For those who are over the internet, let us visualize, close your eyes as well. Feel the presence of the spirit doctors who in the name of God, under the guidance of Jesus, are coming your way to apply the energy medicine that we need. We're more than the physical body. We're multidimensional beings. Let us receive the treatment that we need, the loving care, the nourishment, and allow the message of today to be deeply empowering. Let us visualize a beautiful field of lavender flowers. Let us visualize ourselves there, walking through the lavender flowers, the lavender bushes in the field, breathing in, healing, breathing out and letting go of toxins, unwanted thoughts and feelings. We breathe in and we feel the presence of Jesus here with us, with his sacred heart, his healing hands. Let us keep visualizing it as we are all receiving the passes. Let us then visualize Master Jesus in front of each one of us, applying the healing energies that we need. Let us surrender to his love as he is the divine presence on earth. Dear God, we feel your presence and we trust the power of love and only love. May this moment be an opportunity for us to let go of unwanted thoughts and feelings and rejoice in the new day. Breathing in and out, we welcome your loving care, Let us visualize our beloved Mother Mary with her maternal embrace. She joins forces with Jesus on earth to welcome us, to strengthen us. Dear Mother Mary, we feel your presence. We feel the loving energies that come from your heart, showering at this very moment upon us. We see loving hearts approaching us to renew our very being. We visualize the near future with you, and we see how much wonderful things are coming along. Brighter days with you. Days of charity, days of kindness, days of love, days of new instruction, of togetherness, of solidarity on earth. And we see new beginnings under your blessings. Beloved Mother, thank you for being with us, blessing this moment.
Let us all now visualize Master Jesus, the doctor of all doctors, embracing us and delivering the medicines that we need in this moment. Visualizing healing energies falling from the sky, permeating our perispirit, cleansing the spirit, and then reaching our physical body and healing us in all fields. Rays of healing lights are shining upon us, aligning our chakras and letting us be harmonized in this flow of power. So as we continue feeling the loving vibrations from our Master Jesus, let us together, in gratitude for all that we have been receiving throughout this session and throughout our reincarnation, let us pray together. Dear Mother, Father God, dear loving mentors, thank you so much for everything that has fallen into place in order for us to be here, nourishing our souls and giving us the strength and the courage for us to continue to fulfill our mission in this incarnation. Thank you, Lord, for all the teachings, for all these books that we have been receiving in this life. And we pray for all our community, for all our brothers and sisters in greater need than us. May we be the ones that can help and extend the hand to help those in need. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything. And with gratitude in our hearts, we ask for permission to close this meeting today. And so be it. So dear friends from the internet, we'll be here again with the Planet Radio 24/7 daily prayers. And we'll see you next Sunday or every Friday, every 6 p.m. on the Planet Radio.
Or tomorrow on Monday.
Or tomorrow. Bye for now, friends. We have the online spiritual care. Bye, friends, for now.